Hey YouTube, welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be focusing on editing an existing note from our front end. So currently when you have an existing note, you can, when you really see the details, want to add a pen tool icon to allow us to edit the title, the body, the tags and the folder of a note. I don't want to allow us to be able to edit and also select a different source type, but I don't want us to be able to edit the actual source type itself. I think that logic is better separated, except during the new note creation process. So to achieve that, what I've done, if you've watched my previous videos where we're just updating some other front-end functionality, I did call out that I don't have a kind of predefined prompts that I typically use. So in this case, I've just written out, what I want to do. So all files are referenced in project knowledge. When a user clicks on an existing note card component on our dashboard, it opens the note modal. On the note modal, I want a pen tool icon. When the user clicks this, it should open a new modal similar to the create note modal to allow the user to edit the existing note. This should be a brand new component. Do not reuse the same create note modal. Just really to keep everything compartmentalized, we'll tell it to do that. When editing an existing note, however, the user will only be able to edit the note title, body, folder and tags. They can also select a different source for the note, not edit or create. Yeah, should we be able to create a new source? Not edit the source itself. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. To change the source associated with the note, they can remove the existing source and then search by starting to type the name of another source. The current create note modal component has code that achieves something similar, and you can use that as a reference point. You'll then need to update the endpoints file to accommodate this. You need to create a new hook for editing a note. The API endpoint we call is a patch request to this. Please let me know if you have any questions. So there's a fair bit going on here as well, and we're not giving it super clear instructions. Maybe we're telling it to reference other code as a starting point, but we'll see how it goes and fire this off. So it didn't have any questions. I'm going to put, we'll go here, we'll keep it here for a sec. So we've got our endpoint, our hook. We update our endpoints. So edit. Let's create the edit modal. Yes. Basically, say change source, update source. So it's going to do that. Let's go ahead with this. I'm not going to hold my breath and expect it to be 100% perfect. So we'll just have to see. So in our hooks, we need a use edit note.js. Copy this, paste this, save that. Then in our endpoints, and then in components we need an edit modal. Paste that. Right, and then in note modal, I'll probably get rid of that. We need to bring in our two imports, the pencil from Lucid React and the edit modal component, and then we need use state to determine if it's open, dialog header, dialog title, We have this button. Basically, just put that there, save that, and then content, edit modal, save that. Okay. Go to our application. So up one, up two, components. Use state is not defined. Right, so button is not defined. Where? Note modal. Button. Where are we getting? So that'll be up one, up two. So up one, up two components. Alright, so we got our pencil icon. It's not rendered in the exact right spot, but that's fine. We'll figure that out later. Okay, so that's kind of weird. Okay. We need one that's got an existing source, so edit, change source. Okay, so let's just try doing this. So we'll call this what's a random title? Save changes there. Alright, so inspect console 500 server error. So on our backend, folder validation failed. Folder color is required. Okay, so notes, edit note. Folder optional. I have to come back to that. Let me just clear the folder for a second. Save change. Still got an issue. Cannot read properties of null reading action. Edit note utils. So obviously, looking at this as a slight difference in what our front end is providing, what our back end expects. Let's just get rid of the tag for a second. So save change, and it did. So we need to invalidate the query there, but that worked. And then for the source, so yeah, we really need remove source, save. So we need to invalidate that still. It didn't remove the source. Change source, remove source, add source. Okay, it did then. All right, so there's a few little bugs we have to figure out there. Not working completely as expected. Just thinking, so can I reproduce null? What I might do is come back over to Claude. Please do not write any new code when editing a new an existing node. Please explain what the code currently does if the node didn't have a folder and now the user only inputs a new folder name when editing in there. Just get it to explain what it's done here. Okay. Also doesn't do the color. Okay, so I don't want to have to, so what I'm thinking is I don't want to have to support two different data types, data formats for creating a node. And editing a node. Passing source ID, but yeah, see when you so when we create a node, we create the folders separately. Okay, so what we're going to say is yes, I think you should look at the functionality in add new node.utils.js. Here you will see that we actually create a folder and tags, for that matter, separately to the node itself. I think we should do something similar if a user edits a node that doesn't have a folder or tags currently, i.e. it we pass in the data to create the folder, create the tags, assign them to the node, and save the node. Don't forget though, we still need to support a user removing existing tags or folders and adding existing tags or a folder where we don't need to go create a tag folder. What do you think of this approach? Do you have any alternative ideas that could be better? And then as for folder color, if one isn't provided in the JSON body, we can provide a default color of this. Alright, so slight oversight. yes, please update the code and return the entire file each time. Alright, so we've got to update some of this code. So what we'll do is we'll just pull, it's me uploading video, pull this over here. So we are going back into our backend and we're going to edit note, and we will start with the controller. So edit note controller, save, edit note service, save, edit note utils, save, and edit node validation chains, save. It's not using our error handling middleware, but it's alright for now. Actually, we should, if you saw in one of my previous videos, where is it? We're just keeping track of things that we want to update our backend prompt with. Tell Claude should always do that. Alright, now if we come back to this functionality, let's just check where's our backend running. Okay, that looks fine. And then let's try, test degree, great, tag 123, great, save. Okay, we still get an error. 500 reading action. So it's this action thing. Okay, let's just tell Claude. We get this error. Okay. So in our utils, it was expecting a update to have an action property, which obviously doesn't. And instead it's just done. Fantastic. Just in time. Copy, paste. What I'm referring to is good old Claude running out of messages for another few hours, which is great. Appreciate it. Let's just close this, refresh. Just make sure we're getting edit. Okay, so testing 1, 2, 3, tag 4. Come on. Okay, no errors. Obviously it didn't update because we aren't invalidating the queries correctly. And it doesn't seem to have worked. So we're probably going to have to do a little bit more debugging here. I don't even know if it submitted that request. These are all GET requests. Patch. No, it did. Okay. So it's probably a bit of a discrepancy in terms of how the fields are being passed in from the back end and how they're being accepted by the front end. Sorry, passed in from the front end being accepted by the back end. Hasn't done. Okay. Let's go edit. Let's just try a folder. I just want to make sure it's. Oh no, the folders are being created there, and okay, the folder got created. The tags didn't get created from before. and it's not being actually, none of the folders show on the front end here. Okay, so folders not currently being shown anyway. So it might actually be there, we're not seeing it, but we're definitely not seeing notes. But folders is getting created here on the left-hand side. So that gives me some confidence that that's working. We just need to update the card to make sure we're rendering the folder. We must have removed that at some point. But I have hit my limit with Claude. So I'm going to wrap the video here, and we'll come back and we'll finish off that functionality, and I'll append that to the rest of this. So if we can finish editing the existing note, we'll then also add the ability to delete a note. Obviously there's some UI improvements we need to do as part of this process, and then the final thing I really want to get done is the ability to edit existing sources and delete sources, and to be able to do that from this sources tab. So we'll have similar functionality. You can open this, you can edit, and then also we probably need from the settings page the ability to edit a source type. But we can cover that a little bit later on. That's weird as well, the folders ID showing up. Very odd. Okay, we'll look into that. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll pen the rest of this video. Catch you later. Hey YouTube, how you going? Welcome to a continuation of this video where we're looking at editing our note functionality. So last night, as is usually the case with Claude, ran out of messages. So we're going to continue. I've just kind of reviewed the code a little bit here, and it seems to be that Claude has put this action property, or it's looking for an action property, and I think it might also be a little bit confused if notes don't currently have any tags, as is the case here. So we do need to accommodate for that. What I am conscious of though is that if we go into that existing chat, there was a lot of content there already. So I really want to avoid doing that, just because it will just churn through all my messages again. So if we go notes, edit note, we'll upload all of this functionality, and I'll just say, hey, yesterday you helped me create this new edit note functionality. Can you confirm why you are looking for an action property on tags, as the edit tag functionality doesn't currently work? Also, it is possible for notes to have no tags. I'm not sure if your logic accounts for this currently. So they're kind of two things that immediately stand out to me as being potential issues. And it's already writing code, which is not really what I asked for. But anyway, okay, action was an overcomplication. Okay, yeah. Okay, so edit note, handle tag update. Let's copy this. Paste that in, save. If we come to our front end, refresh, let's edit this. Let's add test tag. And then what's an existing tag? Computers. Let's try and add an existing tag as well. So we've got new tag and a one that already exists. Save changes. Okay. So it's adding an existing tag, but brand new tag. Let's just see if it creates one if you don't have more than one tag. No. Okay. So that seems to work if the user is selecting a tag that already exists. If the user creates a brand new tag, it is not being saved. try this one more time. If it's still getting confused, it's likely that the prompt, we need to kind of start again and do a little bit of manual troubleshooting. It's just kind of my experience working with these things. If it doesn't get it right the first 2 or 3 times, you're less likely to get it right. So let's call this brand new tag again. Just put 1, save. Okay, it still didn't work. Save. Right, it is still doing that, so let's edit. So it's just console log here, console.log. Just make sure we're getting it on the back end. There may be an issue with our front end logic, which we can test. Yeah, it's passing it in as null. So on our front end, we'll check here. So let's inspect console, edit, save. All right. Interesting. Copy. Okay. Okay, we can see tag ID. Okay. So form data tags. All right. So then the issue is tag isn't going to have. Not going to have a color here. So what was our default color? Xcode for blue. So want that in that. Okay. Let's try again. Refresh. Edit. Testing. Save changes. All right, on the front end, tags. Okay, it's passing in the name color. Great. Let's refresh. And it's got it. There we go. Fantastic. And testing 1, 2, 3 is there. All right, well, we fixed that up, which is fantastic. So now we do have the ability to edit that node. But one of the other things that we did need to check was, so if you add a source, search for source, okay, it is title, but the thing is add source, search for source. Yeah, so it's not. So because each source has a dynamic field array, it's not rendering anything there. So we need to find source, folder tags, changing source. Okay, so here, source title or no title. Okay, so here, hang on, loading sources. Okay, now let's just go. Great, that works. Where is this? Logs is changing source, yeah. Form data dot source. Currently trying to get a new title, but not all sources have a title. Instead, it should map this to the name of models. So what we want to do is we want to map to the first field. Okay, instead, each source has fields determined by its source type. Source type allows users to create their own field names and field types. Field names. Names, field names, and labels, etc. Therefore, in this drop down, we should map to show the value of name for whatever is the first field for that, for the source type of that particular source. I hope that makes sense. So we need to have this helper function. So copy this, save, and then form data. Down to just before the button, save, and then map. Okay, so this changes. Alright, with a bit of luck, that might now work. There we go. You can see them straight away. So let's just refresh, go into a new one. Pick this, edit. We can change source, search for source. So, yeah, oh, awesome. It even shows the source type. That's even better, right? So how to sell B2B, save change. We need to invalidate the queries, but that's fine. Then edit, change source, remove source, add source. Cancel, edit. Just run through that again. So edit, change source. What happens if you hit save here? Does that just get rid of it? No. Okay, so you specifically have to remove the source. It's a bit annoying. got to think through how that works a little bit more in reality, and update styling. I'm also not sure why this folder still showed up as, it's weird how that folder showed up as its ID, not the folder name. Weird. And then we're currently not rendering folders on here. So also what we need to do is that note card. So note card, get rid of this. So this will be getting it from note grid, notes.map, and then note grid will be rendered on the dashboard. Yeah, and then note grid getting it from our use notes, query string notes. So then when we invalidate when we edit this and we use in our hooks, use edit note, we are invalidating it. Let's just compare that to which was the other one? Query key, notes, tags, folders. I think it's, yeah, because we're not passing in I didn't like that. Query, sorry. I just want this bit. There. What am I doing wrong? Invalidate queries. Query key. Oh, just the query key part. Save. That's only going to refetch on window focus, which is the main window, not the individual card. Let's just see if this helped. So edit, save. Yeah. Okay. So. Let's copy. Okay, so what we might do is if we go back to Claude, go to our knowledge bank, we're gonna find, actually we haven't uploaded that, so just bring this over here for a second. Upload, we're gonna upload the edit edit note modal, and then also use edit note, which is going to be in our hooks. Okay, and I'm going to say when I edit a note, hang on, the user flow is as follows. A user clicks on a note card, which is rendered from note grid on our dashboard. The user can then click the pencil icon on the note card to open edit note modal. When the user edits the note, the new data is correctly passed and saved to our backend. However, the note, we've missed a step. when a user which opens note modal, the user can then click on the pencil icon in the note modal to open edit note modal. When the user edits the note, new data is correctly passed and saved to our backend. However, the note modal remains open but doesn't show the updated data unless we refresh. I believe it's an issue with invalidating our queries as we use TanStack query. However, we already invalidate, I'll just say that. Okay, and then note modal. Note initial note. Okay, so edit note modal. So edit note, use edit note. We got to add this, so on success. And then in the parent component where both modals are rendered. So that's going to be in note modal. Okay, so note modal is rendered. Okay, note modal. Okay, edit note modal is rendered somewhere else. So yeah. So yeah. Then note modal. Use query, yep. Okay, edit note. Modal. Dialog. So this part. Edit note modal. So mutate. Edit note is loading. One success on close. Oh, so we change that back. Oops. Just that bit. Handle submit prevent default, note data, note data. Save. Notes grid. is actually it doesn't, notes grid doesn't use. Where's use notes? Okay. I think there might. Use query. Handle edit complete. Okay. Where was handle edit complete? Yeah. Missed that. So is edit modal. Come back here, open, edit. Okay, still not updating. And I think that's because, okay, so advise. Okay. I think we just need to make a small adjustment. Copy this. Then, oh my God, we've already, I just wanted it to, okay, anyway, we're getting there. Use edit note, use mutation. Let's just check the use notes. So, edit A. Still an issue. Okay, try again. Note modal. Initial note is open. Constant current note. And then return. Down to. Actually, see, almost missed this rescue modal. So we just need to return this bit here. dialog header, save. Hang on. Actually, nothing. Title. Current note.title. Okay. So we need to update everything to use current note. Current note. Okay. Note is not defined. Where are we? In the note modal. What? Oh, now it's in another place. Okay. Should work. B, C. Save. Still not doing it. Far out. Just say. Just burning through messages. It's not what I want to do because then we have to refetch. Try again. Just get it to give me all of it because I'm not going through and editing all of the things again. All right. Refresh, edit, save. Still not doing it. Oh my god. Our use edit note is slightly different, but it should be more complex. Here. try again. This time let's get rid of all that. Save. No. It still doesn't work. Go really slowly and review everything. Make sure it works this time. Okay, so now it's changing use notes again. Oh no. Use edit note. Just copy that, make sure that's the same. Save. Note modal. Okay. Import, use query client. Initial data, query client. We will get there in the end. Mutate. Yep. Ah, god damn it. 31. Can't read note underscore ID. Oh my god, honestly. This is one of the frustrations of working with AI. It's a simple fix, but I think it's worked itself into a confused state. Okay. Edit. Save. Okay, updated, but now the edit note modal doesn't automatically close. So we've changed something in edit note modal as well. Great, it works, but now actually I don't even know why I asked. I can just do that myself. So where's on? Okay, well. Yeah, edit handle edit complete. Yeah, that is right. Dialogue is open on, yeah, that's all right. Handles, use edit mode. Oh my god, we had all that. Why is it not working? That's really weird. The code's correct. Save. We already had that. Didn't work. Ah. We've already got that. And then edit note modal. We already had that. Copy, we'll check this is correct. I think it is. Oh, we don't want to copy the whole thing. Dialog open on. Oh my god, this is so frustrating. Something's definitely gone wrong. Even though all of the codes are correct. Well, it looks correct. I'm just going to get the whole edit note modal component. copy, paste that in, just double checking that we got it all correctly. Edit, save. Okay, not going correct. Okay, so okay. Claude, no, wrong one. Alright, so refresh, clear the terminal, let's clear it again, edit, clear it again, save. None of the console logs get called. Okay. None of the console logs. Use edit note. Oh my god. I'm going to give up on this for now. It's extremely frustrating that that's not working, so we'll just note that as a bug. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I think Claude and ChatGPT work themselves into a bit of a hole and don't know how to get out of it. And then also what I'm finding is that the like component tree to drill down and get into all these different components has gotten really long and wieldy. So like you go from dashboard to note grid to note card to note modal to edit note modal. Like there's a lot going on there, and I'm sure that's probably leading to some of the confusion. So this might be a good time to take a break and come back with the idea of wanting to refactor some of the front end, which is what we've been putting off for quite some time. We don't have the ability to delete notes yet, but we do have the ability to edit notes. So it is working, albeit a little bit funny, and we haven't done this functionality yet. So they are two things that I did want to tick off at some point, but I am thinking that potentially it might be better to think about how I refactor some of this code in the meantime. So I'm going to pause here, give that some thought, and come back in another video at another time. Thanks for watching. Hey YouTube, how you going? Welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to be doing a fair bit of refactoring to our front end code. So I asked ChatGPT for some of its insight in terms of how we're currently using React and 10-stack query, and there's nothing wrong with what we're doing. In fact, it's probably the more common approach. And what I mean by that is essentially, when you start in our dashboard over here, and it's our dashboard where we are calling use notes and use sources. And that information is then passed down to sources grid or notes grid. Then from notes grid, if we go to our front end, notes grid then renders notes card, and then notes card passes the data down to note modal if someone opens note modal, and then if someone goes from note modal to edit note modal, it then passes it down again. So each time there's no recalling of an API to get an individual notes data. And obviously that's beneficial because it allows single source of truth, there's fewer network calls, it's the simplicity of React query state, data is immediately available, so the UI can feel more responsive. So that's my biggest concern, is that we might lose some of that responsiveness. The downside is potentially that there's less separation of concerns, and I think AI, with some of the challenges that we've had on the front end, especially with that situation there where I described going from the dashboard to a note card to a note modal to an edit note modal, AI was having a little bit of trouble there, and you're also seeing that some of these components are just getting quite big. So where I'm getting with all of this is, at least for now, I'm going to try and separate out a little bit more of the logic between like a container / presentation layer, and then one where there's one that gets the logic and one that's purely presentational. So ChatGPT, I've been chatting back and forward with it. It's given me a few ideas. So for example, with the dashboard page, this is where we do all of our call the data fetching, and then we just render dashboard layout. Dashboard layout then controls the look and feel of the page, and then when you get to things like the note card or whatever, either we can just pass down the whole note again, or potentially if someone clicks on open a note modal, we could then call a get note by ID. I think that would help clean up some of our code, but it does require a fair bit of a rewrite of things. So I'm going to try and tackle it. We'll see how we go. I'm hopeful that I can use ChatGPT as much as this to save messages from good old Claude. And I think obviously the best place to start is with our dashboard component. So let me just get that, and I'm gonna say copy. Great, thanks for all this insight. I want to use your approach of separating out the I want to use the terminology that it used. So where's our dashboard component? Yep. Use approach of setting out the top level container component that manages overall state and data fetching, and then passes the data to the child components. To start with, can you refactor this dashboard component and then write please return all of the code needed and do not remove any functionality. Right. Try and close down some of these terms that we don't need. Right. Alrighty, so in our dashboard, we've got our dashboard, use auth, sets of views. Okay, modal, page. Alright, so this is where we fetch our notes. Use notes tags, folders. Okay, cool. It's all the same. That's our fetch sources. Handles loading. Should probably redirect, but that's fine for now. Handle filter logic, so that's all the same. Okay, so here's where we've got different. So we've got our dashboard layout where we're passing in all of these things. What's our active view? Is the modal open? Is create modal open? Is create source modal open? Is create source modal open? Oh, sorry, set create source modal open, and then node starter and loading states, and then filters. So it passes all of those things down to our dashboard layout, and then dashboard layout manages our sidebar header and main area and renders the children components like dashboard content. So let's check this. So there are all of our props that are passed down. And then filter sidebar, dashboard header, clear filters, dashboard content, passing down our nodes data, create modal. So it is rendering the modals from here. Dashboard layout, how draws overall layout and renders from components. It receives props when contained and delegates them down as needed. Right, and then dashboard content. So what Alright, if active view sources grid, dashboard sources grid. Okay, so that all makes sense. So far we are still always we are passing the data all the way down, which is fine. There's no need to call an individual note at this point in time. The question is going to become, if we then go, for example, to our notes grid, let's copy that based on the above. Then I'm just also thinking about the folder structure, similar to what we've done on the back end, how we keep things compartmentalized. Okay. In dashboard layout, we don't render it, we have. Why would we? If we're going to do this refactoring, I don't want to have to do it multiple times, so I just want to make sure we're it's duplicate. You've got a note grid container, and then you've got a note grid, and then you've got a notes card. Makes sense. Alright, so I think we just need to make sure that I use consistent naming so that we can follow logically what's happening here. So we are going to go this approach and we'll see how it works out. So at the top level, we are going to call this, I'm going to go with the idea of container rather than page, just because sometimes they won't be pages. So I'm going to rename dashboard in my current project to dashboard container. And hopefully that should automatically update. Okay, cool, hasn't broken anything. All right, so then what we can do, I'll pull this over here so you can see the code. We'll go here, and in our container, it is just going to be this presentation logic. What we might actually do before I git add, I'm going to commit this code just in case we ever have to revert back. So in the previous video, we updated the edit note modal. So from this, yeah, dashboard is going to get completely replaced with all of this. Then we have our dashboard layout. So it's going to be a brand new component, which we're just going to have in this same folder. So dashboard layout.jsx. Copy, paste. Right. Let me just check here. So run through this. We've got our views, we've got the create mode, is create mode open. Where is this used? I'd rather this be called create note modal. And then we've got is create source modal. That makes sense. Notes data, loading notes, sources data. Okay. Save. So then in here is create note, and then is create note, and okay, that should all work there. So we're passing down all of our props. Then we have our filter sidebar component, and that's looking for it here, and our header in here. All right, I don't know if anything would have broken just yet, but we won't go and have a look at that just yet. What I want to do is I want to move this component into here. So our header doesn't get changed, I don't believe. All right, save. This is going to be up to into components. Yeah, cool. So and then dashboard layout. Oh, that automatically updated, and then filter sidebar container. We're gonna move this here. Actually, leave that there for a second. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT something about that, and then we need a new component here called dashboard content. And copy this, bring this in here, and we need to, there's notes grid. Alright, I think that should work. Alright, everything still renders correctly, which is great. What I want to ask is, okay, so what I want to ask is now about the filter sidebar container. So there's always going to be some level of interdependency, obviously, because we're going to separate the create note process out of this main dashboard feature. We can't avoid that. Same with create source. And then also here we've got notes grid. But I think it's kind of like when it reaches this level of functionality, this then becomes another container. So you have a notes or view notes container. It's recommending to keep filter sidebar container as a separate component. Dashboard sidebar. It's because this, it does have data fetching here, so it fetches the folders and the tags and the source types. Thinking. Could have it as a subfolder like dashboard sidebar. Let me get okay, so that's fine too. Thoughts. So I think probably the best thing to do now is to call this dashboard sidebar, and then move these two components into that, because they are only rendered there on within the dashboard itself. So once we've done that, we now have to go back to the note itself. Scrolling up. Okay, and then okay, so then we need a notes container. So dashboard, I think, this. So where we leave off here in content, this will become our notes container. Which will receive notes. Alright, so I'm just wondering if we might actually call this display notes container to separate between a individual note. Yeah, let's do that. So in features, we'll call this display notes, and then we'll call this display notes container. Copy. Save. So in here, layout, sorry, not layout, content. This will be display notes container from up one, display notes. Alright, and then in display notes container, we're going to have our notes grid. So we'll move this here, and note modal. We're going to want note modal here. No, we want note card. Yeah, so we're going to call this, what are we going to call this? Move that there. And this is going to be called notes layout. All notes layout, display notes layout. So this and then notes grid comes display notes layout. Alright, which calls this, and then note card. Yeah, so we're going to move note modal out, so note card that will come into here, and then so in notes grid, sorry, we need to update this, so it doesn't need those, doesn't need any of that, just returns that. Cool. All right, then our notes card is going to become copy, save. Everything's still working, which is good. We're going to call this individual note, or maybe note card, display notes, note card. I think note card still works. All right, and then from note card though is, so display notes container is then which decides if we open the note modal. So similar to dashboard container, actually using dashboard content, have the display notes container. Container, layout, individual card. But the logic sits here. So yeah, it's, do we want to consider opening a new note modal as a separate piece of logic? Like, not separate piece of logic, but another kind of feature. Because for note modal, we then have functionality to because I think in dashboard, what we should really do is use notes into that. But then it's kind of different naming convention. Sorry, I'm ruminating a bit because I'm just thinking about it from a perspective of using AI and helping AI understand how our code all works together. So this is almost like use notes to populate dashboard, use sources to populate dashboard. Hook. And then it's not reusable. Well, it is reusable, but we're trying to avoid being reusable. Thinking. And then once you get down to here, note modal, and then from note modal, also got edit note modal. Where is it? This is still getting the note passed down from it. Why is this so hard to think about how we create a note model? Because one of the ideas that ChatGPT had was, yeah, you separate out at this level and then individual note container does the querying. Right, let's ask it. Just gonna ask it that. I have remembered I've got something on cooking, which I need to go check on. So I'm gonna stop the video here, come back, and we'll continue on in a minute. Okay, back. So what I've seen from ChatGPT is I think it's a good jumping off point to separate this out into another folder. Again, just from separation of concerns and to make sure ChatGPT and Claude can keep up to date with everything. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change this note card component to I was going to say dashboard note card. Display. Actually, we will individual. Yeah, let's just call it individual note card. No, not there. What am I doing? All right, and then so basically we've got our dashboard, fetches the data in our container, the content, or the layout, the content jumps off to our display notes. We've got our display notes container, which basically handles if an individual note is open or not, the layout, which is basically the grid, and then the individual card. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to jump off into a new feature, and we're going to call this, what are we going to call this? Individual note. Individual note, and then we're going to have a individual note container, and this is where we don't necessarily have querying logic. We just there is just an attempt to get an updated version. Now, if we want to, we could then update this to call another API endpoint to get an individual note by ID. Just getting the ID from initial note that's passed down. We don't really need to do that because obviously we already have note here. So, but if you, for whatever reason, wanted to, that's kind of the thought process there. So because this is a point where we could be calling the API again, that's kind of why I thought to put it here. Yeah. Then with this individual note container, we then also have our note modal. So I'm going to copy this, and actually what I'll do is I'll move note modal here, and then I'm going to update the note modal code to be this, and then let's check front end. Okay, note modal isn't opening. Okay, and then in individual note container, where's note modal? So note modal was from here. No, note modal is that. That should now work once we bring in individual note container. Okay, I've missed something. Individual. Okay. So okay, so individual note card. Sorry, my phone's buzzing away. Okay, so I'm just trying to figure out where I mean, I did rename some of the files. So display individual notes. We have our individual note card. It's presentational. So individual note container. What's it saying? I'm trying to figure out. Okay. Situation where it suggested something we've already done. Display notes layout. On click on note select is never defined. Okay. Okay, that should have been an easy pick up if I'd read the code. Anyway, that's working now. So to recap, where are we up to? So individual note container, and then I want to change this. We're going to call this view individual note modal. Yeah, view individual note modal. Save, and then rename, save, and then save. All right, that makes logical sense to me. And then we need to, I think we then jump off here also for editing a note and also adding a note, but adding a note will come from our dashboard. Note layout, sorry. In here we've got create note and create source. So let's do that. Let's go here and go create new note, and then what we will do is go, okay, copy this. Okay. So here we also use create source type. So we do have logic because we're obviously calling our hooks. So we're going to create a create note container, which will have all of our state and our hooks. And then we pass those to the create note modal, which will just be the presentation. Wow, we're passing a lot of things now. Okay. Then in this component, we're still calling, the question we're going to have is, yeah, we still have render source fields. Where's that? No, that's fine. Okay. All right, I need to pause very briefly again. I know this is frustrating, the start-stop. But I will be back and continue this video in a second. Okay, so we're going to continue on here. What we're going to do is we're going to pull our create note modal into this new create note folder. Save that. We do need to refactor this so that it's purely presentational only, which ChatGPT has done for us. So we will do that. And then what we need to do after we've done that is create, scrolling. Where did it go? Sorry, we need to create note container. Put that in here. And then what we need to do is wherever create note modal, in our dashboard layout, we had create note. We just need this to be create container, note container. And then we also obviously need to import this. So import that from create container. And then actually we updated this to be is create note. Alright, so a little bit of luck. Failed to import. Use create note. Just need to bring that there for a sec. Alright, and it all still works. So one other thing I've noticed is just naming convention. This should be capital, so let's rename this. And then a container. Cool, that's fine. Alright, then yeah, this is where I'm just still not really sure how we're going to handle hooks if we have them separately. It makes sense, you know, in terms of being able to give, for example, we could give ChatGPT, Claude, all three of these files, and it's very easily going to understand how to create a note and how to render that note. Not how to render the note because it's creating it, but how to pass that data, how we're currently passing that data and invalidating the queries if we need to refetch or anything. So that's the advantage of putting the hook there. But then the disadvantage is there are hooks like use sources in particular, which is used in a few different places. So we could end up duplicating code and creating different hooks for like use get sources for node creation, and it's just going to call the same API endpoint, but I got to think about that still. All right, so now that we've done that, this is our settings page. So we need to refactor that, but we also need to refactor edit notes. So let's keep going with that. Yeah, let's do edit mode first. So we're going to do the same thing, edit note container. Edit note modal. So we will go features, we'll create a new folder called edit note. And we need to create this new component, edit note container, edit note container, save that, and then we're going to bring in edit note modal from here down into here, move, that should automatically update our imports. Then we just need to go to, I think it's layout, right? Oh no, actually we call can't remember now. So create note, display note, individual note, sorry. Individual note modal, or is it individual note container? Yeah, individual note container is where we then have our edit note is open. So slight difference here actually, because we want is open to be is edit modal open. On close should be handle close edit. And get rid of that. Save. edit node container we need to bring in. So this will be edit node container, save, and it can't find the hook because it's looking up one, up two hooks. Should be right. Use edit. Oh, sorry, edit node container. Ah, no. This will also fail. Okay. Open, edit. No, it's not defined. Okay, so console, we've got an error. Individual node component, individual node container. 52. Node. Should be current node. Open that, edit that, and it works. Fantastic. All right. Probably getting to the point where we could put in another folder, notes, and then create note, edit note, display note, but we might come to that a little bit later on. And now we probably want to do the same for creating sources. Where's this component used again? I think this is one of those reusable in our, no, it's only used in our settings page. All right, create source modal. This is currently rendered from our layout, I believe. Dashboard container layout, yep. So similar logic, it's a perfect jumping off point, so we will create that as a new folder. We'll call this create source. And then we will ask ChatGPT to do the same here. Copy. Okay, so create source is what we're going to do next. Call this create new source and copy, and then this will be create source container. And then we pull in our create source modal, move that, and then we're just going to refactor this to be that, and then update in layout, create the source container, and then copy so we can change our import. And let's double check that that works, but there's a hook. Okay, refactored that. Where are we? Everything's still working, which is fantastic. So we don't need to worry about that. Just wondering what we move on to refactoring next. We got these are kind of individual UI components. I don't think that folders, notes, settings. Actually, I might ask. Just getting ChatGPT's view on hooks and maybe how best to makes sense. Yeah, so basically the recommendation is you create a folder here called like notes, and then you have create note, display note, edit note, individual note, all of the note features in that, and then you have a hooks folder within that where you can have all the note related hooks in that folder. So you avoid kind of this type of approach where you've got hooks for all different ones. I think that makes a lot of sense. It's going to be fairly easy to do. But before we get on to that, I think maybe we refactor some of this. So our settings page in a folders form. Yeah, so we probably need to give ChatGPT context in this. So logic. So I have okay, so there's no major updates. Alright, so what we're going to do is we'll follow this approach too. So settings page, we're basically just going to keep the same. That kind of follows the approach here that we've also got with dashboard, although we call it dashboard container. So maybe what we do is we rename this to container. there's no logic here really. We'll leave it as settings page, and then we're gonna refactor our edit tags. Sorry, our edit folder to start with. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create our. I'm just checking something. Sorry, ChatGPT. Example with array move. So it just says that it's an example, so I just want to make sure that it's why is it with edit folders container. And then edit folders form gets updated to that. And then where we call, we just need to update this to this. And we need to change our import. Right, double check that still works. Failed to resolve array move in edit folders container. Cannot read properties of map. Not exactly sure. Does not provide any working. So edit form container, edit form we updated, and now we can move on to the tags as well. I know this video has been start-stop. I am actually going to wrap it here. It's the end of a long night, and I will be back to continue refactoring. I think it's been good to be able to do this, to compartmentalize a lot of the code, and then that way when we are working with AI, as I said, I can give it everything to do with creating a note. We obviously need to refactor where our hooks are. I think that's going to be important to do, and we'll also see if there's any of these kind of UI components. Obviously you want them to be reusable, but if there are some like this create source type form that's obviously very specific to creating a source type, then potentially we can move that into these folders as well, so that they're just very specific. Anyway, thanks for watching so far. I will probably continue to append the videos to this one because they'll be focused on refactoring the front end, so thanks. Okay, yes, it's another day, but same shirt, don't shoot me. Okay, we need to finish off refactoring some of these components. One of the other things that I was just thinking about before I hit record is maybe just having some subfolders similar to like what we've got here in our dashboard one here. So we've got dashboard sidebar. This settings folder here is going to have quite a few different settings. So I'm going to just create a subfolder called folder settings. And then a second folder called tag settings. And then source type is settings. We got our source type form in a different area, so we need source type settings. To start with, we've already done these two folder ones, so we'll move those here into this folder. Those imports should ideally update automatically. Alright, now we've got this edit tags form, and we're going to need to create an edit tags container. So just bring up what ChatGPT gave us beforehand, and we will create a new component. We'll just do it here, and then we'll move them both into the subfolder in a second. So edit tags container. Copy this, paste this, save that, and then edit tags form gets updated to this. Save that. Drag and drop both of those into there. Check out front end tags, so it can't read properly a map. Actually, that's going to be because we haven't updated on the settings page. This needs to be edit tags container. Alright. Tags, cool. There's all our tags. We save that. Save. Awesome. Change the color. Red. Awesome. That's all working. Let's just check. Chairs is red on the front end. We don't have a back button yet, or a button to go back. Chairs went red. Okay, so that's the settings updated for tags. Now we've got this source type form, and let's just double check again where source type filter is used. Source type, I think this is used in two places. No. Source type form. Maybe we got rid of it. We must have. I know we've changed a lot of this functionality, so it wouldn't surprise me if we have. Yeah, so source type select is used. That maps our source type to get source type name. I know when this was from. Source type filter. Source type name. This would have been when we were rendering the source type directly in the create node. Oh, no, this is updated yesterday. Source type filter. rid of source type filter. That's what I used anyway. That's that. Let's go split screen for a sec. I think I'm not too sure. One of the disadvantages of using AI, sometimes you forget. Alright, anyway, we need to, we are using this source type form because if we look at our settings page, sorry, wrong, we're not using source type form, we're using create source type form. Maybe we have the filtering functionality directly in here. So this was this icon. That source type form is used, so source type form isn't used either, so they're redundant. Yeah, so it's the create source type form that we need to update, so we're going to copy this and then we're going to network error has occurred. Cool. Okay, please just close these. Right, so let's create we'll create a new component called create source type container. Put that here, and then we're going to bring in our create source type form, and we're going to drag this down to come into here. Move that. Then once it's in there, we're going to update that to copy. Hang on. Source type form, save that, but I have noticed that here it is referring it to create source type form presentation. So it's this form, save, and then in our settings, create source type form. Okay, that's imported, but we need to change this to create source type container. I didn't like that. create source type container. Alrighty, let's go back, refresh. There's a hook error in our container. Just trying to get the hook, so it's up 1, up 2. Use create source types. Up 1, up 2, up 3. And then input field in. So these are all going to change. Where's input field? In components. So and then these are all going to change too. Alright, settings, tags, folders, source types, all of that's working. Fantastic, so we've now refactored that. Sortable folder. So where is sortable folder? Let's get rid of the console log. So we've got console logs everywhere. So it's in our edit form. Okay, sortable folder. Sortable folder does have some logic, but it is its own component. So I think we're just going to remove this into our folder settings because it's related to that. It keeps that nice and tidy. And then tag item is, where is tag item used? So tag form, container, tags form. Okay, so tag item. Same thing, tag item. We'll just move into the tag settings. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. We've got our main settings page, and then we've got the kind of sub tabs there for each of those things. I know we still have some reusable things like these tag autocomplete, disuse note. It's obviously is used in a few places. Folder autocomplete, and our hooks aren't all centralized yet. Still haven't really figured out how I want to kind of consolidate those. And then these are just all UI components. There are some UI components. Actually, maybe input field. Move that there. Check nothing broke. Because that definitely is reusable. So I'll move that there. Filter selection, pagination, protected route, source type filter. They're all things that I have created. So tag sidebar, where is tag sidebar used? That should be used in our, although it may have been replaced. Yeah, it has. So tag sidebar previously used to get used in our dashboard sidebar component, but I think we can delete this. What I'll do, just make sure, let's rename by, just check nothing broke. Yeah, so we can delete that. Better be safe than sorry. So let's delete that. Alrighty. Okay, so now if I go to Startup Ideas tab, we need to be able to delete existing notes, delete existing source, and then edit button for existing source. So currently we don't support editing. So if you come here, there's no edit button. There is on the note, obviously. So we just need to do something similar. So what I'll do is I'm going to stop the video here. We're going to commit this code. Refactored files. I know there's more to be done, but that'll do for now. And I'll finish the video here and we'll come back and work on some other functionality. Thanks for watching.